It's the B-Tatum Show. It's the B-Tatum. 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 It's the B-Tatum Show. It's the B-Tatum Show. It's the B-Tatum. 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 It's the B-Tatum Show.
Why would it default to the right mic? I think that's it right there. All right, let me cancel all that. Okay, I think I'm here. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? See, I understand sign language. And if you're deaf, maybe I can communicate with you. All right. Now, no drops have happened yet. I'm hoping and praying that this goes for Kari Lake. If Kari don't get 80% of this vote, 90% of this 90,000 vote drop, we are in trouble. But supposedly in 3 minutes, they are going to drop 90,000 votes, presumably for Kari Lake to get. Now, this is what I will say. 3-0, thank you for the super chat. This is what I will say. I do want to caution people away from saying, oh, nefarious things are happening. I know it looks suspicious as a mother. It looks suspicious as a mother. But, however, I think we should play it, let it play out. Let's figure out where it goes and then we can have our complaints from there. If you look at the history of voting in the state of Arizona, they always take this long. And they take this long and Republicans still win. And I think this is no different. They're counting the early votes first. They're counting the they're counting the mail-in votes first, the early votes first, and then they're going to go to same day, election day votes, whether it's somebody dropped it off or you actually voted on election day. This is the ballots that are supposed to come out are going to be these particular ballots, the 90,000 vote drop. Have any? 6 and 6:30. They say in between 6 and 6:30. So anywhere from a minute from now and 30 minutes. So we're going to talk until then and figure out what's going on. Now, let me just say this because I got a few points to make, and then we're going to post some whiskey up here while we talk to y'all. I got a few points to make here. Like I said, let's not get too caught up in saying it's rigged and all this other stuff. Let's let it play out. Everything can't be rigged. And why do you say that, Mr. Tatum? We have to at some point reflect on what is our strategy and where are we winning and where are we losing. I'm guaranteed the Democrats are questioning, in my opinion, I'm guaranteed the Democrats are questioning how in the world do we win the Senate or get close in the Senate in Georgia but lose the governorship? How do we get close in where else were they close at? In Nevada, they won the Senate, but they lost the governorship. How do they? I'm telling you, they on their side, they're wondering, how does people turn out for the senators and don't turn out for the governors? We see it in the state of Texas. We see it in Georgia, in Florida. I mean, Florida was a landslide, but you see it in many places around the country where the gubernatorial race went to a Republican, but the Senate went to a Democrat. So the Democrats are on their side looking the same crazy as we looking. So let's just get away from that and figure out what strategies are we using that work and which ones are we not working. We can't talk out of both sides of our mouth. Either Mitch McConnell did not put enough money into these races, or they doing something nefarious. You can't have both of them, because you can't say, well, they doing something nefarious when we only spent $12 million in Blake Masters' race and Mark Kelly spent $75 million. Just spending alone will prevent you from winning a particular race. So we will wait for this ballot drop to happen. I'm telling you right now, I don't understand how Kari Lake doesn't get the majority of these votes and she don't win. I just can't. I can't fathom. And I'm telling you, man, I'm trying to get us in the right direction mentally. There is no need for us to jump the gun and say, this is, they doing this, they doing that, they doing that. Just hold off on it for a minute. Hold off on it for a minute. Because you have to ask yourself the question, well, what do they do in Las Vegas? A Republican governor won in Las Vegas. However, we lost the senator in Las Vegas. Kari Lake is very close. She's very close to taking the lead. Once they do the drop, she may take the lead. She's very close here in the state of Arizona. Blake Masters was down by 100,000 votes. What are we doing in our Senate elections versus our gubernatorial elections? Because we seem to be dominating the governor's position, but we haven't done well, in my opinion, in the Senate. But let me tell you this. Which is more important? If you can only pick one, I want us to consider this. Which is more important? Winning the Senate in Arizona or winning the governor's seat in Arizona? If we had to pick one, I think the governor being Kari Lake is way more consequential and better for the state of Arizona than us winning one seat in the Senate. I'm telling you, we already got a Democrat in our state as a senator. If we had a Republican, but we had a Democrat governor, we are screwed. But if they can only pick one, I think Kari Lake being the governor is more important, if I could only pick one, than Blake Masters being a senator. So I want us to consider that. Governors have a lot of power. In all of these states where they won the Senate seat, they can still ban abortions because the governor can ban, the state legislator and the government can sign off on banning abortions. The federal government, the Supreme Court justice already made their decision. So it's up to the states. And if we run the states, then we have a lot more control over the things that go on within our states than we would if we was in the Senate with one vote. And they're deadlocked or they ain't getting nothing done. So I'm telling you, it's really, we're not in such a bad position that people may think. I agree that this wasn't a red wave at all. This wasn't even close to a red wave. But we have to go back and look at, were there things that we could have improved on outside of nefarious things potentially happening? Are there things that we can improve on? There's no need for us to jump the gun and get all crazy and say, oh, they're wrong. They did this. Slow down a minute. Let it play out. And then we can go back and revise it and see if there's some things that should have been improved. Let's see. I'm so heartbroken over what Trump is doing. Candace DeSantis, who's next? So we'll keep you posted. As soon as Nick come back in here, he may have some updates for me. We'll try to get you the updates as soon as possible. I know there's a lot of people that are trying to get it just like I am. As soon as it pop up, we're going to try to notify you guys of what this new drop is going to be. Don't know what it's going to be. Have no idea. But I'm really hoping that it's positive for Kari Lake. If you look at the enthusiasm of voters in the state of Arizona, I mean, it's hands down Kari Lake. I haven't seen a single person with Katie Hobbs merch. Not one human being in the state of Arizona. Not one. And I drive all around Arizona. And I don't live in a super conservative place. Our neighbor is a Democrat, for sure. She voted for Biden. She had a Biden sign. But I haven't seen any enthusiasm for Katie Hobbs. She didn't debate. She's not a good candidate. And I don't see no path of her winning in the state of Arizona. I just don't see it. There are questionable things that happened. That does not mean that there was nefarious behavior. And I'm not saying that there wasn't. But we need to slow down and allow the facts to come out first, and then we can make the judgment. And I'm going to talk about Trump just real quick. I know a lot of people are upset with Trump and things like that. Listen, at the end of the day, it's about the country. I think the country is more important than a person, a personality. People say DeSantis is establishment. At the end of the day, who do you think is going to win if they run in 2024? Who do you think will win? Are people so deranged against Donald Trump that he is unelectable? That's something you have to consider. I'm not saying that's what I feel. I'm not saying that's what you should feel. These are things that you need to consider. Because if Donald Trump make too many enemies, it's going to be very, very difficult for people to support him. We getting our heads beat in the midterm, and he comes after Ron DeSantis and then Glenn Youngkin. I mean, that's two allies that could be beneficial for you to have. In my opinion, if these people are deep state, allow them to expose themselves. You don't have to get into a peeing match. You're a grown man. Allow them to expose themselves, because you don't have to listen to me. People, everybody I know is turning against Trump. Everybody. I'm not going to say turning against. They're picking DeSantis over Trump. Everybody I know. So it don't matter what B. Tatum say. It don't matter what you think. It matters that you ain't the only person voting. I hope that we get this. We all can withstand Trump saying crazy stuff because we understand the policies. But can everybody else? Is your grandma and grandpa going to ever vote for him because they're so turned off and deranged with Trump derangement syndrome? That's the question that I think that people should be considering. And we don't even know if Ron DeSantis is going to even run. You know what I'm saying? The man ain't said nothing. The man is doing his job. He did a great job in Florida. He's winning. What's the point of even talking about it? You know, at the end of the day, we shall see. But I do wish that Trump will tone it down and make better decisions about who he go after. I wish he would make better decisions about who he go after. I'm just throwing it out there, because it don't matter what y'all feel. It don't matter what I feel. What is the rest of the country feeling? Because as we can see in this midterm election, is that somehow our message isn't vibing with people as much as we thought it was. And we can cry about election stuff all we want. But what explains the fact that in Georgia, Kemp won by a landslide. And that's supposed to be the state that got all kind of issues. Kemp won by a landslide. What about in the state of Texas? Beto O'Rourke. Aren't there people in Texas? Aren't there machines in Texas? Beto got destroyed. Beto put over $100 million in both of his races, lost both of them. They put tons of money into Stacey Abrams. She got destroyed. All I'm saying is that consider it. Maybe Dr. Oz wasn't a good candidate. Maybe people didn't want to show up for him because he wasn't a good candidate. Maybe Blake Masters struggled as a candidate. Maybe Herschel Walker is not the best thing since sliced bread. He's a difficult candidate. We didn't put up great candidates. Maybe, just maybe, if we'd have put better candidates up, we would see better results. Kari Lake is by far one of the best candidates that is running for any election. And I'm not just saying it because she lives in the state of Arizona. Kari Lake is a rock star. I feel like that if she had any level of governmental experience, she probably would have got way more support. But I'm telling you right now, Donald Trump needs to pipe down on his childish attacks against DeSantis and others. Let them bury themselves. Do not create division. Because everybody keeps saying, because there's a cult, it's a cult out here. So, but everybody keeps saying, why are we causing division? Well, he caused division. He shouldn't have said nothing about DeSantis. Nobody's even talking about this. Nobody would be mentioning DeSantis. Nobody thought DeSantis was a part of the deep state until now. Nobody ever said, show me a Trump supporter that didn't like DeSantis before a couple of days ago. Everybody supported DeSantis. Even Trump said he voted for DeSantis. The riffraff is coming from Trump, and it needs to stop. If he expects to win an election, he has to be uniting people and not on an island by himself. There's not enough Trumpsters in America to overcome a deficit if Donald Trump isolates himself. It's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump should be cool with, you ain't got to love the man. He should be cool with DeSantis. He should be cool with Youngkin. He should be cool with other Republicans. You ain't got to like them, but you should be able to play nice with them enough to get yourself elected. Because Mitch McConnell may try to hurt Trump by not putting money in the race. Donald Trump got $100 million in his coffers. He didn't put a lot of money in the races either. I just think that we got to be, listen, ain't nobody paying my paychecks. I know at one point people was like, Donald Trump pay you to say these things. Do you think he paying me now? Ain't nobody paying me to do nothing. But we have to take a realistic approach. When you have a half-dead man beat Dr. Oz in an election, we got a problem. That dude can't even think straight. And he beat Dr. Oz. I'm just saying, maybe, just maybe, if we put up a better candidate, we would have fared better. Let's see. Dr. Chloe, thanks so much for the super chat. What about people who can't vote because of machines and were sent to a second location and they couldn't vote there? Even if not nefarious, it may have skewed elections. What do you think? 100%. Let me tell y'all this, because the same people who are MAGA, and I consider myself a MAGA, but I ain't crazy MAGA. They looked at me crazy when I said, do not rely on voting on election day only. If you have an opportunity to vote on early, you should consider voting early. Do not leave it up to chance on election day, because something may happen, whether it's intentional, unintentional, obstruction, non-obstruction. You have a life situation that happens. You can't go to the polls. The line is longer than you thought. You get burnt out. You go home. You only have one day. And this is where I think Republicans are losing. This is where we lose an argument. If the elections are not secure, hypothetically, then voting ain't gonna matter if you mail it in or not. So what's the point? But if just maybe if they are, You got to get votes while you can. Let me give you an example. Votes are like donations. Votes are like donations. If I was a company and I said, oh, you want to give donations? Oh, you can mail in your donations. You can actually show up whenever you want from this time to this time, drop your donation off, mail it in, or show up on the last day possible to donate, and you can donate there. If I gave you that many options versus a person that say you can only show up on one day to give a donation in person, who do you think gonna get more donations? Just for convenience? I mean, you think about this for a minute. People are lazy. People get sidetracked. People have lives. Even doing events, there's so many people that book the event and they say, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there. Every time I've done an event, there's a plethora of people on that day that something happens and they cannot make the event. They miss a flight. They had a family issue. They no longer want to go. Their friend don't want to go, so they don't want to go no more. There go two people that's not going. I honestly believe that we have to be considering, how do we make a better approach here? How do we dominate like they do? How do we get grandparents out to show up to vote? How do we get young people out to vote? They're too occupied. Will they mail in the vote if you tell them, if you go to them, you say, hey, have you voted? Vote Republican and mail it in. Will they vote? Or do you expect everybody to have enough consistency, decency to vote on election day? And that's our only chance. I told people this, and they coughed at me and they were like, oh yeah, And then what happened in Arizona? The machine stopped working. You got to wait several hours. You probably did not plan to wait several hours. You may have planned to only get 2 hours in. You got to go back to work. You own your own business. You got to go back to work. You got to plan ahead. And this is why we end up in situations like this, because the people who vote on election day, their votes don't get counted in Arizona till after the election. I'm hoping that people are understanding what I'm saying. In the state of Arizona, your stuff don't get counted till after the election if you showed up on election day. They count the early votes, the mail-in ballots first, and then they subsequently go on to people voting on election day. So I'm saying, consider your options. And if you believe that every state is compromised, then I don't know what to tell you. You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. I mean, whether you mail it in or do it in person, if you believe they're compromised, then what do you waste your time for anyway? You might as well get off the live stream and don't even talk about it. But for those of us who say that, yeah, they may have put a fast one in the Trump election, maybe. But the rest of them, I really do think that we need to start considering, what is our plan? Let me say this. Have they got any drops yet? No drops yet, but as soon as they get them, we'll let you know. I want you to consider this as well. We don't live in the same country that we lived in under Barack Obama, when the Republicans took 76 seats in the House and 15 seats in the Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, the people who were young kids when Obama was in office are now grown-ups. The indoctrination of young people from a very young age is now come to fruition. We can't talk out of the same side of our mouths. If we think that the education system is an indoctrination bed, do you think they're effective or do you think they're not? If we know that the American education system is indoctrinating, then we have to understand the fruits of indoctrination is going to come to fruition now and in the next decade. We have to understand that. These are the things that I'm talking about. The only way we can stop this from happening if we try to create a situation where it's hard to do mail-in ballots, which means that you can't do a mail-in ballot unless you have an exception. You can only come and vote on election day. If we make that a law, then maybe we could cut out on them having the advantage. But I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, they go to the old folks' home. And why don't we go to the old folks' home and encourage them to vote and help them vote? I'm not saying cheat for them, but help them. Why don't we go to universities and we say, hey, this is how you should vote. Hey, this is the ballots. Vote on your issues. Mail it in. Get the ballot in. You're going to be gone for spring break. You're not going to be here in November. You got a plan, you got a vacation plan. Get your vote in now. People that voted for Fetterman, some of them voted early. They voted before he had the debate. It's too late now, and they vote already in. They see the debate and they see he crazy. Warnock, they vote, and then they realize that Warnock ain't. Or they already had their plan. They already mailed it in, and it's too late. Warnock sucks. They already mailed in the ballot. They can't change it now. We have to understand that there's a strategy to these things. But I do realize that what happened in Arizona could be a form of voter suppression, whether intentionally or unintentionally. When you got people, getting neglected at the polls, there's an issue. Dang it, that's I like when I see people unsubscribe and go to Charlie Kirk channel and stay away from this America last BS. They hurting our party. People are dumb, boy. I don't know what that person talking about. People are dumb. People can say Arizona is corrupt. And if Kari Lake win tonight, what are we going to say? This is what I'm saying. Wait till it's over and give your statement. Kari Lake says she's going to win. Kari Lake has not called the election here corrupt. Everybody's saying she's going to win. They got live stream voting online where you can watch it live. I feel like that they're being pretty transparent. Not 100%. I'd like it to be better, but I feel like they're being pretty transparent compared to other states. Any minute, we should get it. But, people say, oh, people are unfollowing you. Look, I don't do this for followers and stuff. I say what I feel because I got wisdom. And some people just don't understand. They get caught up in a cult. You got to be able to see both sides of the spectrum. Trump is not going after DeSantis. It's all liberal media. They take Trump's words out of. I saw his. Okay. I feel like this comment is the reason why we don't win elections and why we don't have landslides. This person, thank you for the $20 super chat. You just said Trump isn't going after DeSantis. It's all liberal media. They take his words out of context. I read his words. He called Ron DeSantis Ron DeSanctimonious. He said he's an average governor. Ron DeSantis, he would be nowhere without Trump. This is what Trump said. But it's all liberal media. Okay. It's crazy. I'm not saying you got to not like Trump, but don't be deranged and think that he didn't say what he said on Truth Social. You can actually like what he said, but don't lie about what he said. Deranged, man. The liberal media is creating this. Trump created this. He didn't have to say nothing about DeSantis. Okay, what is it? All right, it just dropped. Let's see what it is. Somebody say Kari lost. What is the okay, what is the Kari gained 10,000? Where can we pull this up at? Yeah, I need you. I don't have the things. Let's see if we can work together. All right, let's go. All right. What we gotta go to what? There it is. Is this updated? Yeah. All right, pop in. It's not pushing. Okay. All right, y'all. So we got the drop, 90,000 vote drop, 97,000, and Kari won 54% of the vote. Now, I told y'all this before. She need to have won 70, 80% of the vote in order to have a competitive chance. Is it up? Hold on, Nick. I'm going to do something here. Pull me off the screen real quick. I'm just going to pull this over here so you can see it, so it's not hidden behind the thing. All right. So hold on. 1 second. All right, go ahead. Go for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what we got. The vote drop of 97,000 votes. Kari Lake only got 50+% of it. a little bit over 55%, 50-some percent. She needed to get 70+% of this vote, or it's not looking good for Kari Lake. Let me read it to you. 97,000 ballot drop in Maricopa. Now, let me just say this. Maricopa isn't the only county that still needs to count votes. However, it's the biggest county in the state of Arizona. Kari Lake won 54% of the vote with 97,000 ballots being dropped in Maricopa County. Now, is it over for Kari? I don't think so. But this is not the results that we were looking for, because she needs to get a lot more so she can catch up in that lead, because I don't know where she's at now. I don't know how to do the math, but that 30,000 votes behind, 25,000 votes behind. They don't have too many more of these drops they can do. Because if they drop it again and she only get another 8,000 votes, even if she got 10,000 votes, she's still down 15,000 votes. They only got maybe a drop or two left. And so it's not favorable right now for Kari Lake. And I know that people are going to be mad and saying, look, they rigged it, they did all this. Man, I'm going to wait to the very end, and then we're going to go back and re-examine what happened, what did not happen in this election. But I'm not going to make a prediction right now because I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of these ballots. I'm hoping that Kari Lake gets progressively more and more and more. Now, one thing that's questionable to me in this election, you can switch me off back. One thing that's questionable for me in this election is that the transparency of where these votes are coming from. Where these votes are coming from. You know, everybody's saying that they cheated. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I can't, I don't know. I'm just not willing to jump on that grenade just yet, man. Because let me look at it like this. Why did Blake Masters lose that big? As he lost that big. At the end of this, Kari Lake may be within 1,000 votes or something. Blake Masters lost by 100,000 votes. Now, let me explain this to you guys. It's not shocking if you live in the state of Arizona that Blake Masters would have lost that race. I didn't think he had a great chance. But Kari Lake is the one which I believe should win this race. I don't know what to say, man. Let me just say this like this, because I'm just frustrated. I'm sick of it on both sides. I'm sick of it on both sides. We come out and there's no transparency on their side. And then we go jump the gun and say it's rigged. And then on our side, we put up bad candidates and then we wonder why we lose. Kari Lake is the only one that I feel like had a fighting chance, and I feel like it was no way she could lose in the state of Arizona. But mind you, we lost both Senate seats in Arizona before we ever lost our Republican governor. We lost both Senate seats. When Doug Ducey won by 300,000 votes in the state of Arizona, we lost Senate seats to Democrats. I just want us to understand that. Doug Ducey won by 300,000 votes in the state of Arizona when Donald Trump lost. Oh, no, he was already in office, I think, when Donald Trump lost. But Doug Ducey has won decisively in the state of Arizona. But we lost 2 Senate seats to Democrats. And when you look at it like this, you have to say, why did we lose it? We put up the worst candidate on God's green earth to run for Senate in the state of Arizona. Martha McSally was the worst candidate we could have ran. And we can say it's rigged or whatever you want to say. We still put up the worst candidate in United States history to run in the state of Arizona, who she lost both seats in the Senate. We ran her. She lost a seat against Kirsten Sinema. Ran her. She lost a seat against Mark Kelly. So I don't know what to believe anymore. Terrible candidates. Are they still in or not? What's the explanation for Georgia? Everybody say it's rigged, but he won in Georgia. And the Senate seat is still open. Who knows? I don't know, man. Politics has gotten, it's just everybody making excuses. Everybody's making excuses. We always talking about they cheating. What have we done since 2020 to do anything about it? What did we do in 2018 to do something about it? What did we do in 2016? We did nothing. So at the end of the day, even if there was some nefarious, we did nothing to change it, to fix it, to make sure it'll never happen again. 2020 happened. Now we're in 2022 and we still complaining. What did we do to fix it? Nothing. What did people in the state of Arizona do? If you think it's rigged, what did we do in Arizona to do anything to benefit our party? We have the state legislature. The House and Senate are Republicans. Our governor was a Republican. We do nothing and complain. So everybody in the comment section, tell me, what do we do to fix it? What do we do to fix it? 20% of the people in the poll on my channel just recently said they didn't even vote in the election. What do we do to fix it? Give me some comments. What do we do to fix it? I'm tired of the doggone complaining. I'm tired of the moaning and complaining. Fix the doggone thing. We sit up here crying and ain't nobody got no solutions. You're putting up bad candidates. And we wonder why we're getting our butts kicked. Dr. Oz is a trash candidate. Trump should have never endorsed Dr. Oz. Blake Masters was not the best candidate in the state of Arizona. Why did he pick him? Herschel Walker, he can't even speak a coherent sentence. Like he got a doggone brain injury. Why did we pick him? I'm getting so frustrated with the goddamn excuses. There's plenty of great candidates out there. We picking trashy ones. I don't know if they stole it or we got bad candidates. God. And everybody's sitting in here making excuses, but ain't nobody got no solutions. They stole it. What are you doing about it? Half of y'all didn't even vote. Got people on the internet right now complaining. Didn't even vote. Complaining. They didn't even cast a doggone vote. And some Republicans who are stupid enough to tell people not to vote because of what happened in 2020. Going around telling people not to vote. Enough is enough. I don't know what cloth other people built from, but I'm not built for the cloth of complaining every day. What are you going to do about it? You ain't going to do nothing to stop complaining. They out there they're ballot harvesting. If it's legal, why we ain't ballot harvesting? They texting people, we'll give you $200 to help people turn out to vote. Republicans had the nerve to get upset and say, look, they cheating. It's legal. I was in Pennsylvania. It's legal. Why we ain't paying people? I don't want to do it the right way because we conservatives. Why don't we pay people? If Democrats are doing it and it's legal in the state of Pennsylvania, why are we not? Oh, it was Ohio. I forget what state I was in. Why are we not doing it? Why we don't send people $200 to help turn out the vote? They do it. We cry about it. It's legal. We don't do nothing. They get 2,000 votes off of it. And we sit around and complain about they cheating. Are they cheating or are they taking advantage of the system where we're not willing to do? I don't get it, man. If they doing it, why we ain't doing it? If they ballot harvesting, why we not ballot harvesting? If they going to old folks' homes and do something, why we ain't doing it? They ain't going to stop doing it. What are we gaining by playing the game that's fixed? You play the game. Oh, they going out and getting these people. Why aren't we doing it? They lying about this. Why don't we do it? It's frustrated, man. Sick of the complaining, man. I'm sick of the complaining. We got to do better. We can't keep crying about elections. We got to do better. There's a lot of people out here who are very talented, and they should be running for office. They can run for office and win. Why don't more of us run for office? You know, Brian Kemp, what happened to Kemp? He won. Herschel's in the runoff. So are they manipulating or are they not? Or is Herschel Walker just not a strong candidate like Brian Kemp? The gubernatorial race in Nevada, the Republican lost the Senate. The Republican won the governorship. So are they manipulating or are they not? But we keep talking about it. We're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere. We're still crying about 2020. What are we doing about it? It's annoying, man. It's like playing on a football team. The refs are cheating. The refs are cheating. The refs are cheating. Whoop them so bad that it doesn't matter what the refs are doing. Y'all got to understand, we had people didn't turn out. People are not turning out. What was our turnout? People are not turning out. People are not going and voting. Some people on election day in Arizona went home because the ballot machines were messed up for a few hours. They went home. They didn't stay and vote. They just went home. How many people did that? And we go to the events and they got their chest beat up. Oh, I'm willing to vote on election day. I'm on election day. I got it on election day. Then adversity hit and you go home. Don't show up to vote because you had adversity on election day. We shooting ourselves in the foot, man. And nobody's willing to admit that maybe, just maybe, the media has been effective in Trump derangement syndrome. Maybe, just maybe. You can't say you're a Trump supporter on college campus. You will get beat up. You can't say you're conservative in the classroom at the universities. You'll get a bad grade. Maybe, just maybe, they've indoctrinated enough more people than we got. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people just saying election fraud, election fraud. That is not where we should be wasting our time talking about. What are we doing on our side to maximize our opportunities? What are we doing? We can't just keep talking about election fraud. We got people in our school districts who teach the kids LGBTQ. And we ain't said nothing until now. They've been in there doing this for decades. And now we're saying something. We're behind. Frustrating. It's frustrating. Because you can say rigged all you want. What you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? Punk out? I don't know how many people doing it, but some of y'all punked out and said, I'm not going to vote this time because we can't secure the. They ain't saying that. They showing up. I'm sick of the conversation. My fraud, it's a fraud, it's fraud, it's fraud. And what are we going? Okay, 2024 come around. You'll still say the same thing? We can't even sit in the mirror and be honest with ourselves and say that we didn't have great candidates this time either. We did not. If you think Herschel Walker was a great candidate, what are you thinking? Herschel Walker was an okay candidate. They were hoping that his celebrity would have gotten him somewhere. He cannot speak a coherent sentence. He struggles with that. He may have a good heart. I think he's a great man. He cannot speak well. People are turned off when they listen to Herschel Walker try to explain something and he's not speaking properly. He's not speaking proper English. He doesn't have his arguments together. I watched the entire debate with him and Warnock. It should have been a bloodbath. But every time he came up to hit Warnock in the head, he's stumbling over his words and not completing full sentences. But what did Brian Kemp do that Herschel Walker didn't do? What did Brian Kemp do? What did he do? How did he win such decisive race? Stacey Abrams is the love of the Democrat Party. They love her. And how did she lose so bad in the state of Georgia against a Republican? But Warnock is in a tight race with Herschel Walker. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. This is not how you win. This is not how you win, bro. You don't win by complaining. Oh, they cheated. Well, go home. Well, go home. Don't vote no more. Go sit in the corner and don't vote like the rest of them. Kari Lake was a great candidate, but did we show out? Did we show up for Kari? That's the question. Did we show up for Kari? I voted. How many Republicans in Arizona did not vote? I'm telling you, man, people are deranged. When Trump came out and support Kari Lake, they labeled her as an election denier, and they labeled her as all kind of stuff. And I heard people saying, you go and survey people, and they all got these crazy lunatic philosophies about who she was. Even Republicans. I don't trust Kari because she ain't got no experience. Our own governor in the state of Arizona did not endorse Kari Lake. Our current governor that won by 300,000 votes did not endorse Kari Lake. Did not campaign for Kari Lake. I think this is the beginning of the end for us. We will never win. We will never win another election because all we're gonna do is say they cheated. We'll never win another election. We won't admit that maybe Trump turns people off. We can't admit that. We won't admit that Republicans didn't do enough in Arizona to support Kari Lake, probably because they hate Trump. McCain Republican, establishment Republicans, they put $19 million into Karen Taylor Robson. Kari Lake had $3 million. They put $19 million into Karen Taylor Robson, the other Republican running against Kari Lake. I think that Republicans did not show up for Kari Lake like we should have. Mitch McConnell didn't put no money into the race with Blake Masters. Blake Masters had like 12 million. Mark Kelly had 75 million. Maybe, just maybe, that contributed to us getting our butts kicked in Arizona. I'm telling you, man, like, we keep pointing at election fraud. We're not looking at the fact that we may not have performed like we should have, and we let them take the cake. Tell me Democrats in the state of Arizona are divided. Explain to me. What is the Democrat factions in the state of Arizona? How many Democrats in the state of Arizona don't support Joe Biden? They have no division in Arizona. We have Trump Republicans, and we have what is that? We have Trump Republicans, and we have McCain Republicans in the state of Arizona. This is the problem in Arizona. All right, so it says current estimate outstanding in Arizona is 160,000. Currently, Hobbs lead 26,000. Voters need for Lake to take the lead. They would need her to get 58% of the vote. Percentage of vote in tonight's Maricopa County is 54%, the 98 drop. So Kari Lake can still win, but she's going to need to get more than 55% of the vote. But it maybe, just maybe, if our current governor would have came out and supported Kari Lake, we would have won. I just want y'all to understand this. We're not talking about what we're doing on our own side. Do y'all know the McCain Republicans versus MAGA Republicans? I just think we're not thinking of this. Even if they cheated, let's look at what we're doing. Just look at what we're doing. I just said it. In Arizona, Republicans spent $19 million to get Karen Taylor Robson elected. We got $3 million for Kari Lake. And how many people that voted for Karen Taylor Robson did not vote for Kari Lake? That could be enough votes to cause us to lose this election without them doing anything. But we focusing on what they're doing, or at least what we think they're doing. You know, I just think that it's not a winning strategy for us to keep going down this rabbit hole. You know, and look, man, I tell you like this. I don't care if people unsubscribe. I don't care. I want you to know I don't care. I say what I believe is true. In Blake Masters' race, we have such low information voters that the independent dropped out of the race and still got 50,000 votes in the state of Arizona. And I'm not saying that they rigged it or not. I don't know. I don't have evidence. But I do know that Republicans didn't show up. They didn't show up, man. Mitch McConnell didn't put no money into the Senate seat here. Why did he not put money in Arizona? Probably because he hates Trump. I don't know. Somebody said Kari just took the lead. I doubt it. Let's see, crypto. I'm tired of it, man. Crypto exchange FTX went bankrupt. Ukraine funding went to FTX, and they donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Democrats using Ukrainian funds. I don't want to hear that. Donald Trump has $100 million in his bank account, in his PAC. Mitch McConnell got hundreds of millions of dollars in his thing. It's inconsequential. Where are we spending our money as Republicans? The D state, I heard in my own ears, there are Republicans in D.C. that are really Democrats, and until we start playing the game like they do, we lose. And remember what planet we're on and who rules it. I'm just very disappointed. Jason, thanks so much for the super chat. Kemp is a Trump-hating rhino. It's a smart trade-off. The higher power allow Kemp election to go without interference from cheating apparatus, this installment. That's installed. They know Kemp won't investigate cheating in the past Trump and currently it's the Senate election. We can believe it. Okay, believe that. Believe it then. He runs the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia passed the heartbeat bill. The state of Georgia is cracking down on abortions. Like, I just don't understand where we get these points at. They let Kemp win. Isn't Soros backing Stacey Abrams? I mean, come on, Damn. It's the end. It's the end. It's the end. You can't clean up 30 years of trash in just a single day. The Republicans are colluding against the new America First PAC. Maybe. If you hide and refuse to debate on an open square like Katie Hobbs did, you forfeit. I believe that should be the case. You should have to debate. I agree with that. Anti-Trump narrative is pushed by the establishment. No, it's not. No, it's not. I think I'm done reading these, man. I'm going to end up saying something I'm going to regret tonight. We can't continue like this. We cannot continue like this, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot always have an excuse. People say I'm making excuses. Brian Kemp won decisively against Stacey Abrams. People are saying, oh no, it's because they let him win. Stacey Abrams is more of a Democrat darling than Brian Kemp would be. But we say that Stacey Abrams is getting money from George Soros. So if George Soros is spending money, hundreds of millions of dollars on Stacey Abrams, just for her to lose, but George Soros is the enemy, who's on whose side? George Soros will spend $100 million just so Kemp can win. They don't need to make it look fair. What is the purpose of people saying they need to make it look fair? For what? Hillary Clinton got off on a clear crime. They didn't make it look fair. Clearly committed a crime. It's crazy, man. We're going crazy as our political party. We're going crazy, man. Kemp is a rhino. It's crazy to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, and then we say all these people are bad. Trump is the only good one. Trump just endorsed Kevin McCarthy. I thought Kevin McCarthy was bad. Now it's a dice game or whatever. I thought Kevin McCarthy was bad. Everybody that I hear says Kevin McCarthy is bad. And then Trump endorsed Kevin McCarthy, and now the roles have changed. Like, we got to stop this, man. We got to stop it. My solution to the problem is that we need to unite under God's principle, not people, under God. We should be praying. We should be coming together and supporting Christian leaders. And we should be praying for our leaders. We should be praying for Donald Trump. Oh, somebody said YouTube mockery. Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't looked at a comment. I maybe looked at 2 or 3 comments. People can say what they want in the comment section. There's not one person that is talking crazy to me that pays my bills. Not one. You know, people be mad today. I'm going to put out videos tomorrow. I lose 1,000 subscribers a day. I gain 5,000 tomorrow. It's inconsequential. You're not, people in the comment section, you say something to me, you're not going to bully me. I'm going to say what I feel. And if you don't like what I feel, what I say, then you can go to somebody else's channel. But what I will say is this. I learned this from being a police officer. I learned this from being a football player, is that you don't sit and waste time making excuses. You come up with solutions. Okay, you fumbled the ball. Okay, the ref gave you a bad call. What are you going to do about it? Nobody cares that you lost the game because the ref made a bad call. You need to go out and execute. And I tell them this all the time. You kick the field goal, you miss the field goal, and you go, we lost because of a missed field goal. No, you didn't. You lost because you didn't execute on the plays all the way up until that field goal. You left it to chance. We did not execute in Arizona. This race should not be this close. And I'm going to say it again for the people that are just joining. Republicans did not turn out for Kari Lake like we should have. The Trump Republicans did, but the other Republicans did not. They did not. They did not. Because when Republicans on both sides in Arizona show up, their governors win by 300,000 votes. You know, our elections have been the same in Arizona for the last decade. They're not doing anything new. They're not doing anything new. They still take. When Doug Ducey won the gubernatorial race by 300,000 votes, I think that same year or that next following election, they took 2 weeks to call the election in the Senate, Martha McSally and the other lady, Kirsten Sinema. They took 2 weeks. The Republican ended up losing after 2 weeks of them counting the election. Doug Ducey won by 300,000 votes. He's a Republican. We have to look at it and say, how could that happen? Martha McSally, my grandmother, who cannot read and only have one eye, could have done better than Martha McSally in the Senate race in the state of Arizona. Martha McSally was a terrible candidate. He's a terrible candidate. My wife said, I always delay ballots go for a Democrat, but that's not necessarily true because the later ballots caused, what's his name, Doug Ducey, to have an even greater lead. He ended up with 300,000 votes. But it does seem suspicious. I get it. We got to prove it, though. We got to prove it. We can't just talk about it if we can't prove it. Nobody's going to listen. How can we not prove it? The state legislature in Arizona is Republican. We did an audit in Arizona. Do y'all remember that? We did an audit in Arizona. And they found that there were some nefarious things happening in Arizona. But Biden still won based on the audit that we did. But everybody's quiet about the audit because that's what happened. They showed that Joe Biden still won on our audit. But everybody's quiet now and nobody want to talk about it. Somebody explain that to me. How we do an audit, we showed that it was nefarious things, but the count ended up still favoring Joe Biden after our audit. I'm just saying. I mean, we're doomed. I mean, we're probably doomed. We're probably doomed. Because we can't be honest. Anything new, Kevin?
So in that batch, there was no box 3 ballots in that last batch that was dropped.
But it's supposed to be only 17,000 box 3 ballots.
Yeah. So
Are they all Republican?
Kari needed at least 57% of that to feel comfortable. So, but majority box, like Kari said, to put those ballots in box 3, which is why everyone's hesitating about it.
She can still win, man. It's not over. That's why, I mean, it's just not looking great. She should have dominated in this election. But we just can't be honest, man. I'm just shocked that we just can't be honest, man. We can't. Everybody's so divided because everybody got these cliques that they're in. Oh, you with Donald Trump or you with DeSantis. There's no Donald Trump DeSantis. It's America. He's a rhino. He's a rhino today. He's your friend tomorrow. He's a rhino. Then why did Donald Trump vote for DeSantis? Why did Donald Trump endorse DeSantis this time? This election. If he's a rhino. Why did Donald Trump support DeSantis in the 2022 election if he's a rhino? When they asked Donald Trump on camera, he said, I voted for DeSantis. If he's a deep state operative, well, why would Trump vote for him? Why would Trump endorse him? Kevin McCarthy is a bad guy. Trump just said he support Kevin McCarthy. Like, I'm exhausted at this point. We can't be honest, man. That's the problem with this whole thing. We can't be honest. People can say all you want. They stole it. Okay. Let's say that we can acquiesce to that. What can we do to improve on our side? What are we doing on our side? What are we doing on our side? Mitch McConnell did not put money into a lot of these races. He did not put money into a lot of these races. Could that be the reason why we lose these races? And if it's already set up for them to win, then why are we complaining about Mitch McConnell? Because it doesn't matter if he put money in the races, if it's already set up. So why are people mad at Mitch McConnell because he didn't put money in the races that's already set up to not go our way? We cannot have it both ways. Either Mitch McConnell screwed us in these elections by not putting enough money in, or it's already set in stone and it doesn't matter what Mitch McConnell does. We shouldn't even talk about him. It's already set, right? It's already set up for whoever gonna win. Why would Mitch McConnell be guilty of anything? I'm never going to understand. Never. You know, I just never going to understand, man. It's very simple. We should believe in God, believe in the principles of God, and that's how we should vote. I don't care about who runs in Georgia. The good is to have federal law supersede state law. They believe state policies will be irrelevant once they get their way. Kind of not. How does California remain a sanctuary state? That's against federal law. Even when Trump was in office, California was a sanctuary state. I don't think that's their goal. The left will continue to win unless the GOP start putting up candidates that refuse to negotiate with their insane policies. The current right asks the left for permission on everything. I don't understand. The funneled taxpayers Ukraine aid to Democrats. Let's see. They don't care about who runs. Okay. Officer Tatum was listening to you on AM some time ago. Trump can win in 2024, but he must humble himself or he will lose. He must realize he is not in charge. Is he? Is he though? Will he though? That's the question. Will he? That man is 70-some years old. I don't think he's going to change any of his ways. I'm playing it real simple for you all as a former Dem. The only person you guys have to blame is yourself. You guys don't go vote or inform voters or rally voters. Set your, I can't see that. Set your morals on conspiracies to the side and go do something. I almost want to give him an amen. I just honestly believe that we got to start doing something. We got to start being active. I did a poll on this channel and 23% of people said they did not go vote. I just don't know what to say. If we don't vote, we can't win. I don't care what they do. We have no chance if we don't vote. And I remember a lot of Republicans were telling people don't go vote because until they fix 2020, don't go vote. Your vote don't count. How many people listened to that and didn't show up to vote? I'm very discouraged, man. I think I felt this way before, so I'm going to be over it. But I'm just very discouraged at what people are saying. Like, it's just crazy to me. Maybe it's a lot of trolls. Maybe that's what it is. I'm going to leave it at that. Bro, Tatum, Trump is naive when it comes to who to trust and who to help. That's why he had so many snakes in his administration, and the people around him are trying to set him up. Well, maybe it's him. Maybe, just maybe, some of it is him. Not all. Maybe not all, but maybe some of it. Maybe he do things to turn some people off and then they hate him. Maybe he got some part in this. It's like when I see a woman that say, every man I ever dated cheated on me and abused me. You go, every man? You mean every man that you ever dated? Maybe you are not picking the right. Maybe something is about you that's causing you to pick the wrong people. Let's see. The country will walk around from God, so we get what we get. Time to pay. Get back to God and vote. This is age of the low information voters. Like him or hate, Trump was good at delivering a concise message. No, he wasn't, but he was good at what he did. Trump still says his biggest accomplishment was the jab when 99% are against it. But you know, people don't remember that. I'm just the only one out here saying this. Love you, bro. That is all. I appreciate it. Love you back. You know, I'm hoping I can be real with people. The only way we're going to win is if we keep it real. We have to keep it real. We have to keep it real. I do believe that there was some weird stuff going on in 2020. I do believe it was. I've seen so many different things that happened that make me question what happened in 2020. I question some of the things that happened in 2020 for sure. But I don't think it was down ballot. I think it was focused just around the Trump Biden election. It wasn't down ballot. Republicans did very well outside of the election. Then we go now to 2022. There was a lot of Republicans that had incredible victories. Out in Florida, they did it big. We just flipped a seat up in Oregon. People are flipping seats in Oregon and Washington in the House seats. There's some good that's coming out of this. Some races we are not performing well in. And I think people are just Arizona have been going blue for a long time. We already have 2 blue senators. It's not shocking that Arizonans aren't coming out for Republicans like they used to. I'm not shocked. I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked. We got 2 senators that are Democrats in Arizona. It's not like we're a completely red state and somehow we just lost the governor's seat. We got 2 Democrats in the Senate in Arizona for the first time in history. Anything new? I'm gonna be done here soon, but and it's like, but do you agree with me, Nick? Like Republicans didn't show up. Our current governor didn't even support Kari.
The thing that killed us was Gen Z. Gen Z went Democrat plus 28. They showed up like crazy. They killed us. I think the abortion thing killed us. I knew
Yeah.
as soon as that thing happened.
You were right. I said the abortion won't be a big thing, but I think abortion got us. Why did they do it when they did it? I don't know. These young kids are godless. They've been indoctrinated. They've been told that women's reproductive rights are at risk, and they believed it. What make you think they wouldn't mail in a vote? I'm telling y'all. What make you think they won't mail in a vote? They gonna mail it in. They're not gonna go on election day. They're in college. They're in classes. They get their ballots and they go mail it in. They probably have professors that's telling them how to vote on college campuses and telling them which way to vote. Republicans should be the only people who should be upset about us not getting the numbers we wanted in Arizona are Republicans. We should be upset with other Republicans. I'm telling y'all, I wish I can do a poll. How many Republicans that voted for Karen Robeson that didn't vote for Kari? How many people do y'all think? Nick, you remember? They gave $19 million to Karen Taylor Robeson against Kari. Kari only had $3 million. They gave her $19 million. Our current governor came out for Karen Taylor Robeson. Our current governor. Kari ended up winning, but our current governor would not get behind Kari Lake. How many? He won his race by 300,000 votes. How many Republicans turned their back on Kari because Governor Doug Ducey turned his back on Kari? How many Republicans? 50,000? 100,000? We don't want to talk about that. Kari still may win. Maybe by the skin of her teeth. She may win. And the problem is, if Kari wins, are people going to still say they cheated? Yes. Because Blake Masters didn't win. And I'm telling you guys that Blake Masters wasn't what I don't think Blake Masters was Arizona's choice. That was Trump's choice. They put him in at the last minute. He came in at the last minute. The other people were voting or are running on multiple years. It don't matter. I'm just talking to a wall right now. You ready, Nick? You ready to bounce? I just hope we wake up, man. Are we doomed? You know, we're doomed, man. We're doomed, y'all. I mean, when Ron DeSantis is a favorite of ours until Trump says something negative about him, and then everybody act like he's a deep state operative. I just think, what are we doing, y'all? If you say he's a deep state operative, he's a rhino. He was one of the states that did not acquiesce to the shutdowns. He opened his state up. That's something he can say that many other governors couldn't say. Then He said, y'all not going to be going after our children. The Parental Rights Act or whatever he passed that make it illegal for them to talk about transgender stuff to children, I think, kindergarten through 3rd grade. But he's a rhino. He flipped Miami-Dade County from Democrat to Republican on a Paulina one. I mean, you go down a list of what they did in the state of Florida. He sent migrants to Martha's Vineyard. The Republicans hated, the establishment hated him over it. And now all of a sudden he's the bad guy. All of a sudden he's the bad guy. All of a sudden he's working for, all the rhinos are supporting him. When I thought, I honestly believe he's done an incredible job in the state of Florida. He's done an incredible job in the state of Florida. I think Brian Kemp has done a great job in the state of Georgia too. That's why he got reelected. Because black people had to show up and vote for him. If you look at how many black people voted for him, and let me tell you this, Herschel Walker may have struggled because of his son. And nobody want to be honest. Herschel Walker's son came out against him before the election and said some incredibly horrible things about his father. That's coming from that man's son. How many people were turned off by that? Not us. We radical. We far left. How many people in the middle were turned off when Herschel Walker's son said he's a deadbeat dad and he abused his mom and he was never around, whether true or not? How many people were turned off by Herschel Walker's son coming out against his own father? Ain't nobody came out against Brian Kemp, did they? You know, it'll be over tomorrow. Some of y'all love me again tomorrow. Look, somebody said Tatum is low-key working for the left. I mean, I think some of y'all believe that too, man. I think people really like, if you say something negative about Trump, you are deep state. They say I'm establishment or something. I think people think that. I think people really think I'm establishment, Nick. Brandon Tatum working for the.
Same here. All because I worked for that one dude. Everyone thinks I'm some mole.
You a mole. You a mole. You a plant. You a plant. I'm a plant of what? It's weird. People live in fantasy world. They live in online fantasy world. You a shield. You a shield, Brandon. What? Well, I hope if I'm a shield, I hope they help my YouTube channel. Monetize all my videos if I'm a shield. If I start making way more money on YouTube, then I'll tell y'all, hey, I'm a shield then. What did it get being a shield? What does that get me? What did they get me? They still call me Uncle Tom Coon sellout. What did they say? Oh, I'm a cactus. It's funny, man. I'll miss it. I may not go up. It was just one sentence, one word right here. What?
It's all good. It just
Oh, was it Sue chat?
no, it was just
Oh.
normal comments, but it's kind of funny.
Green plant. Somebody say Trump is a damaged brand like Hillary.
That could be what it is.
Man, listen, man. We may not like it, but are people so deranged that they hate Trump enough that they're willing to vote against him more so than support their own candidates? We must be living in a weird world, man. Like your family members won't even let you come to the dinner. They won't even let you come to Thanksgiving because they just hate Trump so much. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. It's like, what are people thinking? And if you're trying to force a circle through a circle peg through a square hole, whichever way you want to say it, ask your friends. We're gonna do a survey. We're gonna go on campus and we'll do a survey. We're going to ASU and we're gonna just randomly talk to people and say, Who did you vote for? And then y'all going to hear random people tell you what they really thinking. You know, crazy. I'm finna drink me a good old whistle peg. And then I'm going to get off here. People so crazy. You want to pour you some? Just a little bit? A little bit. There you go. If you need more, I'll give you more. All right. I think I'm going to close it out a little bit. I'm going to answer a couple questions, then I'm going to be done. I think you can do Q&A on here, can't you? Yeah, you have to do it on the other side. I don't know if I can do it here. Thank y'all for the super chats, by the way. You're a shield. You're working for the left now. It's fun. There's maybe trolls though, but the way things been going, I think real people actually believe this. Nonprofit from overseas want to see America fall. They raise billions of dollars to prevent America First candidates. It's not just Soros. How can Republicans compete with that momentum? We got a lot of billionaires who are Republicans. Let me just say this. Let me give y'all a hypothesis. And I'm only talking to the people that got an open mind. Let me give you a hypothesis real quick about Trump and DeSantis. Donald Trump, and I feel like this has to happen so people can see. But then there's going to be an excuse. But Donald Trump in 2016 won, and he won decisively. I thought he did an incredible job policy-wise running America. I thought he did an incredible job. His first administration, during COVID, it started to go downhill. But I thought he was one of the greatest presidents in American history. I thought. Now, I wasn't alive I wasn't in politics during Reagan. I wasn't in politics during none of these other people. I really thought that Trump did a tremendous job. Now, there was a lot of turmoil that happened from then to now. January 6th, him getting impeached twice. I mean, all of this garbage that was put out into the world. We was doing this. But how many other people were doing that? How many other people were absorbing what they were saying about Trump? The videos, January 6th, all of this stuff. How many people were absorbing that? And how many people changed from 2016 to 2020? And then let's go further. How much of an effect did Trump have on these candidates not winning? Some of y'all say nothing, 0. Okay, he was perfect. Okay. Some people will say maybe he did have an effect on these candidates. Not because he's a bad person, but because the mainstream media has done such a good job at making him a villain that the average person cannot get beyond what the media has said about him. Maybe, just maybe. Then you get somebody like Ron DeSantis, and people say, oh, the deep state. Okay. Rhinos. Okay. Do you think that they hate Trump so much that they're willing to pick DeSantis? Not because they like him, not because they agree with him. It's because they hate Trump more. Do you think Mitch McConnell hates Trump so much? I'm just saying that he's willing to hold his money and let all the Trump candidates lose. Right? What could it have been that Mitch McConnell, we could have won if he would have put money into these elections, but he didn't because of Trump? Could it be? Joe Rogan will never have Trump on his podcast. Whether you agree with it or not, I think it's stupid for him not to have Trump on a podcast. Joe Rogan would never have Donald Trump on his podcast. Would Donald Trump have Ron DeSantis on his podcast? How much effect do you think it would have if Trump was on on Joe Rogan's podcast? How much effect do you think it'll have? I think it's 200. It's the biggest podcast in the world. There's 200 million people watch that podcast. Do you think if Trump had a chance to articulate conservative values, that would make an incredible difference? But he can never go on Joe Rogan's podcast because Joe Rogan said so. Ron DeSantis could probably go on Joe Rogan's podcast. And millions of people who would refuse to listen to Republicans could possibly hear a Republican voice. And if Ron DeSantis runs, Mitch McConnell will dump his whole purse into that race. But he won't do it for Trump. I'm just saying, like, whether these people are right or wrong, could Ron DeSantis get so much more support? Elon Musk said he'll vote for Ron DeSantis. He would never vote for Trump. How much money do you think Elon Musk will put behind Ron DeSantis versus Trump? Whether you agree with it or not is irrelevant. How much? These are things. Donald Trump would never go on a Breakfast Club. They would never invite him on a Breakfast Club. Would they invite DeSantis on a Breakfast Club? Like, we trying to win the culture war. Have the left accomplish the goal of eliminating. Somebody said Kari Lake won Pima, Arizona. I doubt it.
She won the drop that came. There was like 66%.
Was it?
It was a small drop.
How much people? How many people?
It was like 3,000 people.
3,000?
Yeah.
Oh, this wasn't nothing. She didn't win in total because Pima County is liberal. Pima County is more liberal than Maricopa County. How many votes is she down now?
Still the same. And there won't be another Maricopa drop vote tomorrow night.
We'll be on the radio.
And then we'll be here.
We may go live again depending on what happens.
Let me see. I get more information.
Arizona.
Oh, sorry, it was in Pima County. It was Pinal County.
Oh, Pinell County.
Pinal County.
Now that makes sense. Pinell County.
She picked 69% of that.
Pinell
Small
County.
drop.
There's a lot of other counties left though.
So I just
There's still room for Kari to do well, man. Like, I thought she's gonna win way bigger. I thought she was gonna win by like 100,000 votes.
here's the votes on state.
Votes outstanding. Outstanding non-provisional ballots estimated as of 7 p.m. 11/13, which is today. It appears that in the Kari Lake race, there's 160,000, almost 161,000 votes still outstanding. Apache County, 8,500 votes. Cochise County, 1,500 votes. Gila County, 55 votes. Maricopa, 94,000 votes. Mojave, 500 votes. Navajo, 4,400 votes. Pima is still 3,800 votes, and they're going to go Democrat. Pima is going to go Democrat a lot, or it's not going to be that far for Kari. So I'm not convinced that. Pinell County still got 10,000 votes. Santa Cruz, 200. Yavapai, 750. And Yuma, 1,100. Now, let me just go down this real quick. There's 160,000 votes that is still left to count. That's not a lot. If they launch 160,000 votes, Kari Lake is going to have to get a lot. She's going to have to get a lot to bring her over that 20,000 plus margin. She got to get at least 58% is what people are saying out of the remaining votes. Now, Apache Junction, she could get well over 50%, 58%. Cochise, 1,500 votes. She can get well over 58%. Gila is only 55 votes. Who cares? Maricopa, she can get around 55 to 58% of that vote. She's not going to get more than that in Maricopa. Mojave, who cares? It's 500 votes. Navajo County, I think, normally goes Republican. She has to get over 58%. It's possible. Pima County is more liberal than Maricopa County, y'all. Pima County has the University of Arizona. They're blue-head liberals in Pima County. I used to live there. I used to live in Tucson since I was 18, from 05 to 2017, and it's super left. It's like Austin. But these could be the non-provisionary ballots, which could be a lot of Republican left ballots. And then you got Santa Cruz, 200 votes, Yavapai, 750, Yuma, 1,100, inconsequential. The biggest ones are Maricopa County, Pima County, Pinal County. Pinal County is super Republican. So out of these big moves, Kari is going to have to get 58% or above. Now, my thing is this. My thought process remains the same. If Kari pulls off the victory, I'm still willing to say we can go back and revisit it and make sure nothing else happened. I'm not saying that nothing nefarious happened until the very end. And then we can go back and revisit it. But I'm not jumping the gun saying they cheated. Katie's going to win. Because if Kari come back and win, what happened? What happened if Kari wins? Are people going to go back and say, no, they didn't cheat? Okay. I think it's not looking good, but it's not over. Huh? I'll say this. Let me add this as a caveat. If you wear a DeSantis hat, do you get the same backlash as you get wearing a Trump hat? You know, if an NBA player was conservative and wore a DeSantis shirt, do you think he'll get the same backlash as if somebody wore a Trump 2020 shirt, 2024? Just saying. So just to update, Kari Lake is they had a 97,000 drop. Most of it went to Kari, but not enough to bring her over Katie Hobbs. There should be more coming out tomorrow. I don't know how many. There should be more. But you got to think, if you were a Democrat, I'm just saying, if you were sitting at home and you were a Democrat and Kari Lake won the governorship, what are you thinking right now? Are you thinking they cheated? How did we win the Senate seat by 100,000 and lose the governor's race? What would you be thinking as a Democrat? What are they going to say? They going to think that the election was taken from them. How do you win by 100,000 votes in the Senate and then lose the governor's race? I know how. Because Kari Lake was a far more popular candidate than Blake Masters. There was not a lot of money put into Blake Masters' campaign. They put more money into Mark Kelly, way more than they put into Blake Masters. So Kari Lake still got a little bit to go. Hopefully she dominate next drop tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Hey, man, I love you guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate your super chats. But, man, we got to do better, Republicans. We got to do better. And we need to look in the mirror first. Before we talk about Dominion machines and all this, we should make sure that we're doing our due diligence first. And then we can criticize them. And then we can do investigations. But when we're not showing up, we don't know what the possibility could be. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. I'm going to play a commercial, Nick, and then I'm out. Let me see. I'm going to play this one. Is this one got music?
That's the off-chain store ad music.
It's just the ad or the whole commercial break and ad?
Commercial, then it goes to the store, then it goes to commercial.
Okay. guys for joining me on today's election night